All right. Getting ready to promote some film. In the interest of doing that, I think the best thing to do is to assume that whoever's hearing this knows nothing about any of us, knows nothing about the movie, knows nothing about nothing. So I figure we'll just go around the horn and everybody can just give a little introductory paragraph, talk about who we are and why we're here, and just what it is we're trying to do. I'll start. My name is Malcolm Tent. I'm from Danbury, Connecticut. Longtime record store owner, record dealer. I own my own record label. Full-time musician. Shared the stage with Gary and Bonnie, I'm told 9 years ago now. And my entree into the world of Punkin and Gary Forney and all the Forneys was through the Off the Charts movie. And so now here I am, conducting this big old schmoz. Son Maximus, take it away. Tell us all about it.
All right. Well, as we know, I guess Tony, he wrote a book on, was it autobiography, right? On Gary?
Yeah. Yep.
And 2007. We started from there, and I guess we didn't have the money to actually do a feature film. So we thought, let's do a documentary, because documentary is a lot more, I guess, cheaper. I guess all you have to have is the camera and the desire to make a movie to get started. So I thought, I graduated from film school. Let me do this project at least, get started and have fun, put my education to work. Basically, I was in California at the time studying film at UCLA. And then when I graduated, this is the first film that it just kind of organically grew out of that.
Right on. So then, Tony, tell the world who you are, Tony. First name, last name, and what your deal is.
Well, my name is Tony Rome. I worked on this movie. Started out, like Son was saying, began with transforming an autobiography into a screenplay, and went from there. My background is I'm a writer, pretty much an all-around writer. I've been published in newspapers and did various interviews and opinion pieces, lyrics for numerous albums, worked with bar bands. Basically, I went down the road of kind of basically because of Gary. I mean, I'm going to give him credit where credit is due. I saw him in Off the Charts, and I wrote to everybody in that documentary because the thing was just interesting to me because it's an alternate timeline of musical history. And, without all the cookie cutter process, ridiculousness of industry standards, and all that, and regular people, just living their art. And I was really inspired by that whole thing, so I sent everybody messages and ended up befriending Gary, ended up being his friend on Facebook. And from there, we've done a few projects together, like interviews and whatnot and all that. So I ended up, the screenplay happened, and just like Son was saying, we really couldn't afford to do a feature production, so we wound up going the documentary route. I guess pretty much that's basically the background. I've done writing of all different types. I love continuing doing that. I admit my end game on that kind of thing is to avoid having to deliver pizza and that hasn't yet happened, or my other jobs. I'm working 3 things right now. Time off tonight for this, thank God. So long and short, I got away from your question.
Well, no, that's basically it.
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron, are you there?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Tell us
Great.
about you and yours and just exactly why it is you're here.
All right, sure. My name is Aaron Gall. I met Gary and Bonnie way back about 8 or 9 years ago when they were. We got the lucky opportunity to open for them because we were kind of like a spectacle wedding divorce band, and so we got to open for them, a little hurrah hurrah. And then through that, we just stayed in contact. And then Gary or Sunda requested me to do a small interview of my entrance into that world because me and Gary kept in contact throughout those years and whatever. And then the movie, I got lucky enough to have a part in it and do any promotional artwork they need. And so here we are.
Yeah. And we got as an interview also. And you're a very important part of the film. So
thank you, homie.
It's not just the artwork, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Right on. And so then that leads us right to the people I see in the middle of my screen, the people who are to blame for all of this. Once again, assuming that nobody knows anything about you guys, about Punkin, about anything, give us a little bit of a nutshell summation.
I am Gary Forney, a longtime musician. I know Off the Charts made out like I was just starting or something. I had my first band in high school and kind of continued there when I could. I had to work for a living at times. And then in about 2000, I started a band called the Iowa Mountain Tour. Did pretty good. That's the one in the movie. And then in this movie, it's Punkin. I started Punkin about 2005. And at first, Josh and I, my son Joshua. And then I added Bonnie after a while. And we've added various drummers, a la Malcolm Tent, and different people, different times. And I still continue the music to this day. I just haven't had a gig in a while, but I call myself a musician.
Right on. Now I had made reference earlier to like our entree to Gary and Punkin and all that was from the movie Off the Charts. Once again, assuming that nobody knows anything about it, just give us a moment and explain what that's all about.
That movie I'm not very fond of, but anyway, it was for a while I didn't have a band. I didn't have any way to express myself musically. I'm not very good on the instrument, but I can write lyrics and sing and a few things. So I had a song pub company doing a few of my songs, and of course my songs tended to stand out. So I was approached by first the song pub company to kind of represent them, and then by the producer of that film. And then I ended up in that film not knowing what I was doing. I was told it would I thought it was for San Francisco State College, and end up on PBS. I ended up in the New York Times.
Oh, was it? Oh, wow.
Okay.
I didn't know that part.
I had my picture about 5x7 in the New York Times, and then everybody thought I was mental, I guess.
Publicity is measured by the inch.
Yeah, well, any publicity is good publicity, I guess.
Yes.
So then I kind of found myself famous, but not in a way I really liked. But I continued. I used that for a springboard, and just kept doing my music. And when I got tired of the mountain tour, I formed Punkin, and just continued in that vein. Went into the recording studio, started recording my own stuff, and here we are today.
Right on. I just want to say, just speaking for myself, maybe anybody else here would like to chime in on that. I loved the movie Off the Charts. I personally didn't think it was insulting or demeaning. The fact that we're all here right now because of that movie, I think, demonstrates the positive effect that it had on the people who are in the movie. And, just as a sort of a cultural phenomenon, I've always loved song poems. I collect them. I go out of my way to down and listen to them, and I'm releasing my own compilation soon on my label of song poems. So
I sent you a bunch of my song poems, and you want to release some of them, let me know.
I also second that. Like the Off the Charts movie, I thought was actually pretty heartwarming, pretty wholesome. And then what was it? From that whole thing, it came out right before the internet exploded with oddities and appreciation. So it was in my opinion, ahead of its time, because people are interested in things they don't get to hear every day.
I would like to say I like Sun's movie better. I like Sun's.
You're the star of it.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't manipulate anything. That's one part.
No, we just let it happen.
Right.
It is what it is, and it presents a story.
Right.
We weren't trying to create a character or make you, anything.
Well, that's why I like the new movie. I come across as myself.
Because, if you get down to the root of it, your music is honest. Your form of art is honest. So we had to do everything we can to present an honest picture. And we did what we could with that. And, maybe it's not everything it could be. And maybe there's some stuff that, we could have done better.
I like it.
Well, good. Great. I hope everybody else likes it.
Well, I like your writing, and I like Sun's photography. He's a great videographer. I will say that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
It's pretty beautiful, to be honest.
It's a nice, beautiful film.
Well, I remember clearly being at the venue in Lake Villa, Illinois, and
Oh yeah.
Son was very sure that I got videotaped right at the magic moment when the sun was
Oh, yeah.
setting, so that the light was perfect.
I
look at
actually
that.
forgot about that one. Okay.
Son mentioned earlier, and I'd forgotten it, that Bonnie did some dolly work.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
she was
yeah.
driving. Yeah, she was driving her
Oh,
van,
yeah.
and I was sitting in the van, and basically we were going parallel as Gary was walking down the sidewalk. Yeah, to get some basically improvised dolly scenes, you know.
Yeah,
So
whatever
Bonnie,
works.
Yeah, so the movie actually opens with that shot. So
right.
Oh,
Gary's
Bonnie, look
walking-
at that.
yeah.
Sorry, guys. Harry the cat has just decided to interject himself into the proceedings.
Oh,
Cute, cute.
He's a ham. He's a ham. So let's talk to the filmmakers themselves for just a second, and I guess we'll once again go around the. So exactly what was it you were trying to get across with the movie, with the narrative and the way it was filmed and the story you were trying to tell?
wow.
Too good of a question.
Yeah, I got to think about
Details,
this.
details.
I specialize.
What I was trying to get across was, I guess, the authenticity of Gary. You know, he doesn't like kind of what do you call upstage himself, or try to be something he's not.
Right.
You know, and how that can be, good within itself. You know, you don't have to say, oh, like you when you watch movies, oh, there's the best person. They have, they've released a million albums and, or a million songs and all that, which kind of gets tiring after a while,
Right. Because
So I
those
wanna
stories,
kind of
those
focus
stories have
in-
all been told. Everybody already knows those stories.
Yeah, it's just like, how much more can you hear of that? It's like, you're tired. It's like they're talking about, all the famous musicians and all that. It's overhyping, and that's what I was trying to stay away from in this film.
Right.
So that's why I collaborated with,
Tony.
Yeah.
Tony.
yeah.
Hey,
So,
Tony.
yeah. So we discussed that, how do we approach, asking questions that make him sound authentic. So, like, Malcolm, you haven't seen the film yet, have you?
I have.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yes.
So it starts with your song,
Outsider.
in Lake Villa. Yeah. So you're actually, Tony actually edited the film. I gave him, and he actually came out with a better version of it.
Yeah.
And he started with your music, and it kind of, in a way, sums up everything in a way, like the movie about outsider music and what is it about, and
But not in that hokey way where outsider, like where we're trying to push people out, like push them outside of the realm. These are true outside, Gary,
yeah,
a true outsider musician without the, the hokiness and the hype that they put around that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know that Gary has a love-hate relationship with Off the Charts,
Yeah.
because of the presentation. They tried to make him look, I don't know, tried to make him look like a doofus. Didn't work on
Yeah.
me. I didn't.
Now,
Gary is a doofus.
if you notice in that film, there's not a single shot of me with an audience. There were over
Yeah.
30 people in the audience. He didn't show one of them. He just showed some people that weren't even there with confused
Yeah.
looks on their faces. They go,
Yeah, they tried to create a character. Tried to craft.
yeah.
That's that late night shot. That's when the audience isn't supposed to jive. They'll cut to the audience doing something else too.
Yeah.
Right. Trickery, in other words.
Aaron and I played together.
Treachery.
Yeah.
We didn't really, but Aaron opened for me in Duluth. And so
Yeah.
he knows how I get along with the audience.
Right. Right on. Tony, what would you add to anything that Son might have said about your intentions with the movie and the presentation and the writing thereof?
I'm being absolutely honest. It was to get it done. We spent a long time on this whole thing.
Right.
But during the creation process, the editing was the big chore. The actual creation process was basically nothing. I've interviewed Gary before, and I kind of know what to ask. I've been told before that I was a decent interviewer. I've done radio shows. I co-hosted a few times and hosted a few times, beyond, and was told that I was a relatively decent interviewer. I just try to ask questions that I would expect other people outside of our scope to be interested in hearing the answers too. And a lot of it's in general, and then we'd stair step from there and try to build off of that. But the editing process was, oh man, I've done a lot of I've done a lot of music videos and short form editing, which I love. I'm actually, I don't brag on my work too much, but I enjoy it, and it comes out better than I expect a lot of the time. But this was a whole other experience because it's the longest form thing that I've worked with, for all the video. So what I do with that, it came together pretty organically. It's like there's this anything of just peak interest, like these just like sound bites that I could feel. I went with that, tried to cut that all together as much as I could. I wish we had a bit more footage here and there to lengthen the film, but pretty satisfied with how it came out. But my entire ambition with was to create a truthful, meaningful movie that, even though I'm an amateur, comes off like an actual documentary, with the narrative to it, where somebody will get a little something out of it, where the basic storyline at the end of the day, a person watches something like this and they realize people, true artists go for it, they live their dreams, they go for it, and no matter what the outcome is, because let's be real, this movie at the end of the day is exactly that. It's the end point of a dream, an ambition. And for me, it's pretty exciting because, my God, I can't even remember whenever Off the Charts was out, like 2001, something like that.
2003.
Okay, so 20 years later, I never thought I'd be sitting here. There's Gary right there. My friend's son here, like this collaboration. I'm extremely ecstatically proud of, how time works, how human connections work, how art works, how the human spirits come together to form something. And it might not be the greatest thing in the world, but we did it, and hopefully people will like it. And I know they will, actually. They just give it a chance and watch it. And that's basically my ramble there. I guess got a little off track.
No, sure. That was good. That was good. I would want to backtrack just a little bit. You said you wrote this biography. What's the status of that? Published, not published?
It's published. It's one of those self-published. You can buy it through Amazon.
I've never seen it.
Well, I never gave you a link. I'll send you a link. I got to send you a bunch of links now.
It's on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
I wrote
tell them the link. Yeah.
It's the Gary Forney story, and anyway, it was based off of Caravan, the autobiography. Did you ever read that autobiography?
No, it's another one that I have never seen.
It's a great autobiography. It was a great autobiography, and the Caravan, the screenplay turned out pretty well too. I actually have that on PDF. I sent that to Aaron, relatively recently. I don't know if he's read it. Nobody's read it.
No, I read it.
Not yet, anyway. Okay, well, good. Anyway, that was another thing. See how art inspires further art. Gary, he has this great autobiography out there. I have never transformed, somebody's autobiography or any other kind of book into a screen version. So that was it was an artistic challenge. And so thanks, Gary, for that one. It's another one in the lineup.
Yeah, some of these things just take time too,
Oh yeah, every little thing.
So like even the movie was the one Total Recall with Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That looked 10 years for them to actually make that film.
There's a lot of special effects and whatnot they'd have to deal with, something like that.
It takes like 2 years even to churn out a cheap movie.
If we do a sequel to this, we should just do a remake of that movie with Gary, if you're interested.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
No, I did have I do have thought maybe we can approach it from like each character. Like we have Gary, we have Malcolm, we got Aaron, and each one of them have their own perspective on outsider music.
Yeah, for sure.
And then kind of combine it into one larger film.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
Yeah. So like maybe
series.
So yeah, if Aaron and Malcolm are up for it,
we could do Gary and then Bonnie and then
count me
Tony,
in.
you better start writing.
Yeah.
Right on. So, well, I think as far as I can tell, I think we've addressed what we needed to address, unless anybody can think of anything that they want to add that the public needs to know about this movie and or the Forneys.
Well, I'd like to mention a few people that passed. Jeff Isaacs in the movie, the sound engineer, he had a stroke at the time of the movie, and he's passed since. But I was really fond of Jeff. I was really fond
Sorry
of
to
Jeff.
hear that. Yeah.
And my sister Darlene's in the movie. They mentioned her husband Ken. They're both passed now. So I'd like to say a word to them.
Right on. Enough respect.
Yeah.
Son?
I just wish it were taking less time, to get it up onto this film festival websites. We tried before. Anyway, I guess Tony mentioned, I guess his girlfriend offered to tell him, hey, the movie's just sitting on a hard drive. We need to get this into the film festivals. And I did try before, and I thought, let's do a different. He did a different cut, so I submitted that. And this time, instead of having like paid film festivals, we were doing like free ones. They're the free ones, 5, 6 of them. Like we submitted to Sony in Los Angeles, so it's in consideration there right now also.
Oh, snap.
And so we have it in Europe. Liftoff Film Festival is this Europe one, but this one they're actually in every country also. So there's Liftoff Tokyo, they have Liftoff Australia, Liftoff Los Angeles. So if they have it in one festival, they said they basically forward it to their other festivals. So it may actually be a good thing where I just submit it to one and it just gets automatically submitted,
Right on. Tony, any last words for the people?
Not really. Just that I look forward to everybody getting a chance to see this movie whenever it gets out to them, however it does.
Right on. Aaron, what do you have to say in conclusion?
Yeah. Well, in conclusion, I have to say that you really should see this movie. An incredible and delightful journey into the life of Gary and Bonnie and all those that they've touched. Once again, the off the charts, we all saw that, and 20 years later, we're all here. So it's exciting. It's exciting to see, what happens next, and so it's exciting to be along for the ride.
Most definitely. I would concur with all of that. And if I was going to say anything, I would say that I'm very happy to see this film coming out because it documents a legitimate art form and a worthwhile art form and a really enjoyable art form that's brought me a lot of pleasure for many, many years. And I'm delighted to be a part of it myself. Really, really cool. And I want to thank all of you guys, Son and Tony, for making it happen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for being a part of it.
Hey, my
Thanks
pleasure.
for having us.
And I guess we got to let Gary have the last word because he's Gary.
Yes.
Put your foot down, Gary. No more of these shenanigans.
I'd like to thank everybody. Write down the list. I have a list here, but we just don't have time for it. But especially Son, Tony, Malcolm, my Bonnie. And, Bonnie's here.
Do you remember Ian Myers?
I thank her.
Yeah.
Without her, I don't think anything would have happened. She's been a silent partner in the background.
Yeah.
Right.
What else? Are we forgetting anybody? There's only like 5, 6 people here. Ian Meyer, the owner of the
Ian Meyer.
Yeah.
Jake Austin.
Yeah, Jake Austin. Yep.
And I hope we didn't forget anybody, but
I think that was it.
I don't know.
Maybe it'll recur to us and we can mention them further down the line.
Yeah, they'll
It's
get
not the
their
end of it.
props.
So.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, gang, I think as they say in your biz, that's a wrap.